Joining us now, Emily Brewer, millennial, House of Delegates member, Republican, youngest Republican in the House of Delegates. And she called me yesterday in an absolute tizzy over Ralph Northam's ridiculous school lockdown, shutdown, 10 kids on a school bus, whatever he's doing, not justified by any numbers or anything else, destroying kids' opportunity to play high school sports in the fall, just crushing their dreams. They can't get an education. Emily, what's the deal with this governor?
John, I've got nothing on this one. I mean, so first of all, let's just think about something kind of funny here. You tell me in a classroom of kindergartners how you're going to set children 6 feet apart and make them wear masks. Just think about that.
You can't,
second, right?
You can't. Absolutely cannot do that.
You can't. So obviously, this is going to make families make really hard decisions. Everything from childcare to what do they do with their children to what about the high school kids that are actively playing sports, looking to be able to, work towards a scholarship for college. I mean, all of the things that this governor is doing right now to upset the apple cart is just absolutely insane. We are, I think, well past where we should be on these executive orders. It's absolute overreach. It's unconstitutional. But you know what? Let's talk about how it's going to affect families.
Go ahead. How? I mean, look, because, our take, and you and I talked about this yesterday off air, and you were the one that brought this up. You said, okay, well, there's too many jobs. The economy's coming back, so we have to stop people from getting jobs so we can keep the economy tanked. How best do that? You said, then close school. So if you can't send your kid to school, you can't get a job.
You think about the moms and dads that are going to have to make decisions based off of this insane attempt to shut down schools. Think about this situation. I mean, John, you're fortunate. With your situation, you have flexibility. You and Ann have flexibility, but not everybody has that.
Right.
We have families that are going to have to make decisions on whether they go back to work if they're currently teleworking.
Right.
What they're going to do. Childcare is ridiculously expensive. And, we're going to have these families in Virginia making decisions for their futures based off of what I think is unconstitutional. I mean, this is insane.
Well, and what was it based on? Like there's in Chesapeake, we have 225,000 people that live in Chesapeake. You're familiar with it. It's right up the road from Suffolk where you live. And in Chesapeake, that's where I live, so I'll just use that as the example. 15 people total have died out of 225,000. 10 of those in a nursing home. That leaves 5. Of the 5, 3 were over 70. So the number of people that have died in Chesapeake from COVID-19 under 65 are 3. 3 people. So we're shutting schools down for 3 people out of 225,000. And all of those 3 people had underlying conditions, but they happened to be under 65. So for that, we're shutting down schools. Why?
It's the same situation in one of my counties in Isle of Wight. We had 8 deaths, and they were in one nursing home. And, when anyone passes, obviously that's awful and a tough situation. And this COVID crisis has been, unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we have businesses that are dying on the vine because of these executive orders. We have families who are trying to make hard decisions to what to do with their children going forward in the future based off of flawed information. I mean, we have a governor right now that, if this is in the medical field, I'm sure it'd be malpractice. That's for damn sure. But look at the situation and the corner this is backing small businesses into. I mean, my own small business ever since then, I love serving the General Assembly. I'm gone for 3 months. I come back. It's my time to really pump up my business and work hard. But I'm thinking about all the other businesses out here that are just struggling and dying on the vine because of these half measures or overreactions at this point. Absolute overreaction. Think about the kids right now that, their outlet, their social and emotional outlet is is sports or activity with other kids. You can't even swim in a private swimming pool. I mean, how crazy is this?
So what is it? So a lot of people didn't understand this order yesterday. Basically, let's just break it down from the beginning. Let's say if you're in Virginia Beach, because I know school starts at different times in Virginia, but let's, for the sake of argument, after Labor Day, right? That's the rule, I think, in Williamsburg and Virginia Beach because of the tourists. So it's Tuesday after Labor Day. I live in Virginia Beach. I have a son and, I don't know, a daughter in the 6th grade. What happens to me?
Well, so here's what this is basically saying, is that schools are basically not going to go back until we get to phase 3. So whenever, the emperor decides we get to phase 3. And until then, we will do online distance learning is what this is currently saying. But, when do we get to phase 3? Do we have any idea? Phase 3, they're saying it's going to be in-person instruction as long as they can accommodate strict social distancing with desks 6 feet apart and children wearing face masks. And, I think this is total overreach. I think it smacks of just total government control. And, so what would happen is this, is that in phase 3, your kids go back, they're spaced 6 feet, and they have to wear a face mask.
And so, but what are we in now? Are we in phase 2 now?
We are actually in parts of phase 2 right now, yes.
But we are, but not Richmond, right?
Well, Richmond moved to that at the end of May, I believe, and Fairfax in most of the Northern Virginia localities are.
I think Richmond's still in phase 1. I think Northern Virginia moved to phase 2 yesterday. Richmond is still phase 1 because you still can't stay. You can't. The hotels are closed. Like we went out for lunch yesterday, and we had to drive 30 minutes out of Richmond because my studio's here. We had to drive 30 minutes. A friend of mine and I, John, had to drive 30 minutes to Chesterfield to get out of here to have lunch. So Richmond's still in phase 1.
What's going to be really interesting about all of these different phases is we don't know when we're getting to phase 3.
Well, then the other thing he says is only 10 people can ride in a school bus. Well, school buses are meant to pick kids up and take them to school. So if you've got a school, does that mean they add like 30 school buses per grade? I mean, what if the average school bus fits 35 kids and now you're down to 10? We're going to get the other 3 school buses.
You know what I think we're going to find out, John, after all of this is that we're going to have families decide to start homeschooling because this is just too cumbersome. This is absolutely insane, and this can't function. What are we doing with
high school football? Did you understand it? I mean, they can practice. Like I've got coaches that told me, well, we started practicing yesterday. Okay, well, are you going to play? And no one knows.
This is absolutely absurd. We have got to do better. And, I really would like to see some individual school boards reach out and really challenge this because, local school boards have the right to set their own calendar and not be dictated to in this manner. People know their own backyards and they know their families, friends, and neighbors, and they should be making these decisions, not passed down through, a dictatorship.
We're with Emily Brewer, House of Delegates member, Republican Suffolk. She's the only millennial in the Republican caucus. Emily, what are we going to do? I've had probably 50 people email or text me and say, blah, blah, John, what are we going to do? Is there going to be a lawsuit? Are we going to have a massive rally in Richmond with 30,000 parents that just want to send their kids to school? What are we going to do? Or are we just going to say, okay, King Northam, screw our life up. Don't let us go back to work so Biden wins or whatever your nefarious plan is. You're not backing this up on numbers. And you take Richmond, where I am today, that's why I'm focused on it. 30% of Richmond kids in high school drop out. 30%. That's 1 out of 3. I mean, now there's another. They already lost 3 months of any reasonable education. Now you're going to take another 3 months out of them. What is that going to go to 50%? What is wrong with these people?
You know what's worse about this is that orders like this are going to hit those that are disadvantaged in education the worst. I mean, it has been said that third grade is the tipping point for so many children for their learning process and their, educational growth. All of these kids being out of school for months and months and months, the fallout and the educational loss of learning for these kids is going to be profoundly impactful. I mean, we have kids that are just going to really, truly, especially high school juniors and seniors. I mean, you're right, John. Some of these kids may not graduate.
It's unbelievable.
This is
when are we going to do something about it? I mean, everybody's talking about it. When are we going to do something? And what is the something?
You're going to see some lawsuits probably coming. I have heard from multiple sources in the near future.
They ain't going to do crap.
That are going to challenge this.
They ain't gonna do anything. I mean, lawsuits. I mean, what lawsuits do what? He's got the power. He's got the emergency power to do it in an emergency. I mean, the fact that, and I told everybody he was not going to open up school. And I tell you the other thing. As soon as the job numbers came out on Friday, I went home. I told my wife, we're not going back to school in August. And she's like, "What are you talking about? This thing's over." I'm like, they have to find another way to stop the economic growth. They don't care if you die. See, this is how evil these people are. They're evil. They're now evil. They don't care if your kid doesn't get educated, if they can't play football, if they can't get the scholarship, what happens to their dreams, soccer, track. They don't care if it's a contact sport. They don't care. They can't get an education. They don't care. You can't get a job. They don't care. Here's what they want, Emily. They want power. Power is now superseding your family, everything. These people that we voted for to represent us, they have us under a thumb to be sure they keep power. That's what's going on here. It's despicable. It's evil. It's sick. I mean, what is the justification? We had 1,000 people last night go to Bird Park, knock over a statue, chop off its head, Christopher Columbus, throw it in the lake, drag it 200 feet. 1,000 people, no mask, shoulder to shoulder. But you can't put over 10 kids on a school bus?
John, it's so funny is that, and Virginia's had some wonderful peaceful protests, and absolutely I believe in anybody's right to assemble, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But what I will tell you is that we're not going to be able to send kids back to school. I mean, are you serious? So,
serious?
What I think, I'm fired up. I'm ready to do whatever we have to do to address this, whatever that may be. And I have probably had no less than 30 or 40 phone calls since last night from upset parents.
So when the parents call you, I want specifics. A constituent, a parent in Suffolk calls you. What do they say?
Well, I had a call actually from a husband and wife last night. I talked to both of them, and they were so upset. They said, well, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be returning to work because the cost of childcare, if my kids aren't able to go back to school,
right,
might be a break-even point for me. Our family has to go through our budget, figure out our financial situation, and decide whether the wife is going to be able to return to work.
There it is.
I mean, these orders are messing up families' ability to provide for their families, put food on the table, and clothes on their back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See, these
are real life things happening.
But that's not a what's the word that they say? That's not an unintended consequence. That is an intended consequence. If your constituent can't go back to work, that is a job not filled. That is a job number that doesn't get reported in August when they need bad numbers in order to beat Trump. So this is not an unintended consequences. This is the objective of it. Don't have people go back to work. Keep the economy tanked. Beat Trump, keep power. That's it. That's why you're going to close schools. This is why it's evil and despicable. You're going to shut down schools to beat Trump. How sick is that?
You know what? And it's not even just beating Trump. Just think about the emotional toll this is taking on kids that don't understand what is happening in front of them every single day. And that makes me angrier than anything.
So what are we going to do about it?
That won't be able to have that.
I mean, I don't think a lawsuit's going to do crap. I have one solution, which is the way he left private schools was like, you got to do what you want, but send me a plan. I wouldn't send them crap, okay? But what we need is somebody's got to break the dam. It's just like Georgia broke the dam, Florida, then Arkansas, then Oklahoma. You need one private school, not school, organization, conference. Like if you take where I live, the TCIS or the Metro or something of that nature. There's many of them. You take one conference that says, you know what, we're just not going to do this. And so our plan is back to normal. And we're playing football, we're playing soccer, we're playing fall baseball, we're doing track, cross country. We're doing it all. And we're doing it all in our conference, and we'll play each other and hope things work out for everybody else. There would be an influx of students going to those schools, right? People would scrape up the money for that, and then he would break the dam. Other than that, Todd Gilbert's going to file a lawsuit. Okay, call me when I'm dead, all right? I mean, we need action. I just, lawsuits don't do anything. If you were to say to me, okay, on pick a day, July 7th, we're going to have 50,000 people march on Richmond. Now you're talking. Maybe you'll get something. But it's outrageous.
Well, John, if you start the charge, I'll walk with the pack. I'm right with you.
I think we have to do something. I mean, my listeners have been texting me all day. You know what? Enough rhetoric. What are we going to do? I want to go back to school. I want my kids to get an education. I mean, I'm paying all these taxes. This is outrageous. If it was, okay, we can't go back to school because, this number of people are in hospitals and, we've only got a 20% capacity. Hospitals are at like 15%. The ventilators are sitting in a warehouse. There's no risk here, except that Trump wins. That's your risk. Trump wins. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. So let's sacrifice your kids' education in order to oust Trump. If somebody can give me a better reason for that than the one I've got, I'm all ears. Nobody's given me one. Give me a better reason than that. It's outrageous.
Well, this is overreach. It's unconstitutional. Any business out there that wants to challenge this, I'd be glad to sit down and talk with them and figure out how we address this, John, because you know what? We have moved into the Twilight Zone or something. This is insane.
All right, I got one text I got time for. I got about 8 of them, but here's one that I'm going to read. Barry in Shenandoah Valley says, "Hi, Emily. Ask Emily, where the hell is the Republican pushback in the legislature? They're a joke." Barry in Shenandoah Valley. Respond.
Thanks, Barry, for listening to John. Isn't he great? So you know what, John? I think that what we have been doing is going through and systematically addressing each of these executive orders and trying to work with our own communities, with our businesses to try to address this as individuals. And I think in probably the next coming weeks, you're going to see united front like you've never seen before from the Republican Party. We've been having conversations. We've been fired up. We are united front. And I think you're going to be shocked, awed, and surprised with what you will see in the coming weeks. So stay tuned.
All right, final text here from Ken in Chesapeake. He says, "Hi, Emily. See, you got a lot of friends, Emily. Why isn't the House of Delegates and the Senate stopping Northam from destroying our families and businesses?" Never mind, he says, "I know why." Well, let's let Emily answer that.
I will say this. Thanks for listening, Ken. This governor is going to put more small businesses out than we have probably seen in a long time. There was a recent survey that I said that 1 in 4 Virginia small businesses are going to close. When people have independent voices, when people are able to independently operate their small business, They have individual power. And when you get to control that, that's when the power shift changes. And that's what this governor is trying to do. It's all about a power struggle. And it's all about controlling our lives and our families and how we provide for our families, our livelihood, in every single aspect of our lives. It's about government control. That's all this is.
Emily, how is the Emily Brewer Wine Shop doing, your own small business?
You know, John, serving in the legislature, we certainly don't get rich doing that. But, you know, I come back after 3 months there and, you know, COVID happened. And so we've had to change my business model a little bit. But we're doing okay. You know, we're paddling along and trying to make it just like everybody else is out here. And that's why I'm honestly so fired up, because I'm experiencing this along with so many other small business owners, and I'm fed up.
All right, Emily, great segment. You hang in there. We'll see you soon. We got to lead some kind of rally because this is just ridiculous. Emily Brewer, John Fredericks Radio Network, House of Delegates member, Suffolk. Curtis Ellis next.